Welcome back. Of course, it is still Global Morning live on your screen this beautiful day. We are reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria, and this is the second discussion. The first discussion was about the persistent occurrence of explosions in Nigeria. Moving away from there now, let's get straight to Rivers State. The state of emergency declared in Rivers State has caught the attention of Nigerians and even people at the diaspora and the world at large. The reason being that some persons are saying it is not within the confine of the president to suspend a sitting governor who is democratically elected. And the president have said, well, I had to do this because of impending crisis and things that may happen. We can't afford to have more insecurity additional to what we have. People have reacted. Past President Goodluck Jonathan has reacted. And of course, Shekau have also reacted, the governor, and a lot of Nigerians have reacted. Today, we'll have someone join us as we talk about the place of security in Rivers State right now as far as this state of emergency is concerned. And we have Dr. Moses Salah joining us. He's a political scientist and a security expert. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning, Dr. Salah.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning. All right, let's get straight to Rivers State right now. The state of emergency, before we even talk about the security situation, what do you think about the state of emergency declared in Rivers State and, of course, the suspension of the governor, the deputy, and the assembly members? What's your own take? What do you think about it?
Thank you very much for this opportunity this morning. As a matter of, because we are in this public space, it is good that we put our identity right. My name is Dr. Moses Saleh, not Salah. Concerning what is happening in Rivers, well, it's not something that is new per se, because we have had such before. When President Obasanjo was the president of the country, we had about 2 or 3 states that came under a state of emergency. And because that happened, there were cases of it that was, that we have pursued even up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court gave a judgment that it's not right for an elected leader to be removed from office, in an unconstitutional manner, because there are prescribed ways by which someone who is elected by the people should be removed from office, either by impeachment, or by resignation, or by death. These are the processes outlined in the Constitution for removing someone who is elected, not appointed. Someone who is elected by the people, who is representing people. So going back to Rivers State, I think I am with the Constitution, because that is what the Constitution says, and that is what the Supreme Court has affirmed. So what we had in terms of the removal of the governor, the deputy, and the state assembly members, to me, if you relate that to the Constitution, you see that it's unconstitutional to do that. You can declare a state of emergency if there are breaches anywhere in any part of the country. We had that kind of example when President Jonathan declared state of emergency in 3 states in the north, Yobe, Adamawa, and Borno, in some parts of the local governments, where there were issues of Boko Haram. He didn't remove the government, neither the deputy nor the state assembly, even the local government chairman were not touched. That is the way to bring emergency to an area. It's not the entire state that is affected. If you listen to the president's speech, he said there were cases of explosion in the oil installations, and that prompted him to do that. If actually we had such cases in rivers, those areas that were affected by that explosion should be the places that would have brought the emergency rule, increase security measures, and all that, so that disruption to oil production and all that will not happen. But by uprooting elected officials, I don't think it's constitutional doing it.
All right. Now, a sole administrator was appointed, okay, and now the governor is being suspended. Do you see this as maybe something that could result to something different? Because the president have said the reason why he is actually bringing in the state of emergency and suspending the governor, not the president, is because of one, impending crisis. But some persons are saying this could even lead to more crisis than stopping the crisis. What do you think? What's your own school of thought?
Well, you see, the president has access to security, intelligence, and all that. And again, if you are a good observer of the political development in Rivers, you would agree with the president that it has gotten to a point of an increased tension within that area because of the political conflict. But that does not mean that the incumbent, the elected officials, do not manage it. If there are issues that could warrant the president to bring someone else to come and manage the state, I don't think the security situation in Rivers had degenerated to that point where such decision should be considered. But notwithstanding, having done that, we are not looking at the implications of the decision that he has made now in terms of the security of the state. The person he appointed is an experienced military official personnel. He was a former chief of naval staff, so he's quite experienced in terms of military activities and all that. But notwithstanding, what we have in Rivers is not a military issue, it's a political conflict. Now, political conflicts are not resolved by military action. So, what the new administrator should be, the direction we should be going is by engaging the stakeholders, the military, the political leaders of that state, so that they can douse the tension that's already built. Engage them in meaningful conversation, engage even the suspended governor and the officials, engage them, because one of the responsibilities he has is to build peace. So engage them in meaningful conversation and not taking side with any of the groups that are already fighting each other. And try as much as he can to reach out to traditional rulers, even leaders at the grassroots, because this is where we may have more of the chance. Because as the governor is being suspended, if quick action or deliberate actions are not taken to engage people even up to the grassroots, the appointment of the sole administrator might be misinterpreted, and for that reason might cause a serious security breach or breaches within the state.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Saleh. Now, some persons are saying there are other things that the president would have done instead of declaring a state of emergency. Some other persons are saying the president did not take the right decision, while others said what he did is the best that he would have done. Now, let's look at it from the area of democracy now. As a democratically elected governor of the state, if there is a situation like this, apart from the suspension and state of emergency, what else do you think would have happened, or the federal government or the presidency would have done? Because remember, there is a speculation that's not proven yet. People are looking at actions and inactions to pass judgment on the fact that the former governor of Rivers State, who is now the minister of FCT, is not in terms with the governor of Rivers State, talking about Minalai Fubara, and it's part of the reason why all of this is happening. And some presidents are saying, some Nigerians are saying, the president is taking sides with the minister of FCT. Do you think there is a better way that this situation would have been handled apart from the state of emergency, looking at the situation on ground and the way Rivers State was boiling?
It's a political conflict, and there are many ways by which we can address political crisis of that nature without imposing a state of emergency. To be fair to the president, when the conflict started, he tried to intervene by calling the parties to the villa, getting them to sign an agreement, which they call the peace agreement, because as at that time, the governor or the state had gone to court, to declare the seat of this State House of Assembly members, 27 of them vacant because they had defected to the All Progressive Congress. And the facility, that is the State Assembly complex, because of a bomb, because there was a detonation in that complex, they brought it down and all that. So if you look at the items that agreed upon in that meeting, was to first to withdraw the case from court, allow them to be sitting and all that. And to be fair to the governor, when he returned back, he started implementing that peace agreement. Because I remember when he withdrew the case against the 27 lawmakers from court, even me as a political scientist, I knew it was a grave mistake that he made. I knew that it was a grave mistake. Because if you are head on to that, then by now the State House of Assembly, these 27 members would have been history by now. But because of what he did by withdrawing that case, lost the momentum and all that. That is why these guys still have the oxygen to breathe around and thinking that they can do some damage. But I think he tried to respect that agreement by withdrawing the case, returned the commissioners that were brought in by Wike that left, he brought them back and all that. He was trying to implement that. But I realized that even the governor trying to do that, the other party were reluctant about the implementation. They were actually reluctant because you can see the disrespect. They were recalcitrant about it. And for that reason, I think that made the governor to jettison that peace agreement and begin to pursue, what he started pursuing. So, to be fair, even that at that point, if the president is still very much interested in resolving that conflict, he would have broadened the scope of engagement beyond the two major parties of Nyesom Wike and Fubara. He would have extended it to other political leaders within the state, even outside the state. People like former President Goodluck Jonathan, his wife, and all those people would have been brought in to ensure that there is an amicable resolution of the crisis. And if that had done, I don't think it would have degenerated to this point where the state of emergency would be declared over the state. I think that's my own view.
All right, Doc. Now, let me just, you're a political scientist too, so apart from the fact that you're a security expert, let's look at the polity a little bit. Now, one of the major problems that Nigerians have picked from this incident in Rivers State that degenerated to the level it is right now is the influence of people who are no more in governance, who are called godfathers, in quote, political godfathers. The problem of godfatherism in Nigeria is not just in Rivers State alone. We've had problems like that in other states, okay, before now. Benue State, for instance, Anambra State, and many other places. A lot of political office holders believe that you need someone to hold your hands who is a member of the caucus or who is big in the game to take you to a seat. Then you have to be loyal to that person, as the case may be. And some persons of school of thought, this is exactly what is playing out in Rivers State. Now, there is a contravention. There is something happening that is contradicting the whole belief. And this is it. Videos making round of the past governor of Rivers State, talking about Nyesom Wike, the now minister of FCT, has it that he, from the one, during the right from the time of Amechi, has been kicking against godfatherism. All right? And now there are accusing fingers that he is also trying to play the same role that he was kicking against back then. So now, holistically, let's give it a look right now, an overview of godfatherism in Nigerian politics. What do you think of godfatherism? Is it doing us good or is it doing us bad? Is it necessary or is not necessary? Must you have a godfather before you attain any political position in Nigeria?
Well, this your question is very interesting, but I think that is what we need to discuss at this point, because the role of these godfathers in our polity is endangering our democracy. It's endangering our democracy. We must be very factual about it. The problem of godfatherism or godfathers in Nigeria's politics is clearly the problem of our political parties. When you run a political party in the manner that we are doing in Nigeria, you enthrone some individuals, to see themselves as people who are larger than life. Other climes, it is the members of the parties that own the party. But in Nigeria, it's few individuals that owns the party. And as a political scientist, I try to investigate why do we have such situation. And I realize that the problem comes from funding political parties and their activities. When you have an individual bringing a pool of money, bags of money to fund the political activities of a political party, he assumes the leadership and the ownership of the party. But in other climes, it is members, their dues, monthly dues, yearly dues, that fund the party. That is why when they have Congress, decision of the Congress stands. It's the supreme decision of any political party. But when we are running political parties in Nigeria, to be honest with you, our democracy will not be able to give us the dividends that we desire. All the political parties in Nigeria, in two sense, they are not run as a political party. They are not run as how political parties should be run. There is one famous scholar who said, Chuck Snyder, he said that democracy is redundant without political parties. In other words, without formidable, well-run, well-institutionalized political parties, you don't really have a democracy, because it is political parties that midwives democracy. It's political parties that are midwives. So you can see what is happening to our political parties. Until we restructure our political parties, return the ownership of the parties to its members, whereby members begin to contribute both financially, intellectually, and all that is required to run the parties. we will not have a good democracy. Because when money buyers bring their money, fund, like if you listen to Wiki, he say he bought fund for everybody, from the governor down to even to the local government chairs and councillors. One person buying all the funds for it. So what are you talking about? Is he can claim ownership of the state when that happens, and he'll be asking questions. Do we have institutions of government that should be able to take up such things? When somebody say, I am the one that bought all the funds for everybody, I'm the one that bankrolled their election and all that to get into office, and that person is walking free, you know, that is where the problem lies. Reform the political parties, let the members take ownership of the parties, then from there, credible people who have substance, people who have knowledge, who have ideas, who have qualities, will emerge from that process into offices, and from there you begin to have the dividends of democracy. Until that happens, we don't really have democracy. We all have, group of individuals who are opportunists, grabbing here and there and thinking that you have a democracy. You don't. So the problem is our political. Look at PDP, for instance. This is a party that have governed the country for 60 years. They are out of power for about 10 years now. And look at it, they are almost dead. Because it wasn't an institution. Because if PDP was an institution, by now would have been seen intellectual engagement with as an opposition party. Rally, there are many things that the PDP would have been using to rally support to his base. But look at it, because it's not a formidable, it's not institutionalized, and they are in disarray today. One individual tearing them apart. That is the problem with money bags. So if we do not address the problem of political parties in Nigeria, we don't really have democracy. We don't really have democracy. I've said that. Chuck Snyder, he said it in 1982, that without political parties, democracy is redundant. So that is what we are saying today. It's not something new. So that is the problem we have. So these godfathers, when you return party ownership to its members, godfathers will disappear. Because if it is a monthly due of 10,000 naira or 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira and everyone is paying, then everybody have equal voice and equal stake. But if, when it comes to funding, one person brings 200 million, 2 billion naira, and then you are bringing your due, they say we don't need it. Then what? You don't have a stake in that. So that is where the problem lies. We can accept donation. There will be a folder for donation. Anybody that wants to donate can donate, and it stops there. That does not give you a superior voice over every other person. Until we begin to run our parties in that manner, as an institution with a clear mandate, ideology, and focus, then the issue of godfatherism will continue to thrive. That is the answer to godfatherism.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sali. As a matter of fact, you've spoken very well. I think you did well. But now, let's look at it now. Is it possible, all right, to do away with godfatherism in this country anymore? How do we get started? Where do we start from? Because a lot of people are looking at the state of emergency that's been declared in Rivers State, but a lot of people are not looking at what really resulted, what happened before the declaration of the state of emergency. Why was there a problem between a sitting governor and a former governor who is now working with an opposition party? Because we still know that Wike is still in PDP. So now the question is this, like you've rightly spoken, is there anything we can do, all right, to stop godfatherism? Where do we start from? Because you need to be part of it before you can actually get into politics. Before you get into governance, you must belong to this caucus. Is there anything we can do? How do we get started?
You are just trying to make me repeat myself. To stop godfatherism, It's not something that will happen overnight because they have entrenched themselves. Since 1999, they have entrenched themselves across the country. And they are the reason why we have a very weak political system. The political parties are very weak because of these godfathers. Any attempt to build the parties in a manner that the party will be self-sufficient and be disciplined and run professionally, you see them say, no, we want to get the chairman out of that place. I can give you instances. For instance, look at during Obasanjo's time, how Ogbe was removed as the national chairman of PDP? It's because Ogbe was trying to assert, the supremacy of the party over his members holding offices. Trying to tell them that the party is supreme. And that didn't get down well with President Obasanjo, so he got him out of office. The next person that came, Gemade, another, got him out of office. Even the recent one, Secondos, that was what Secondos wanted to do. He wanted to assert the independence and the supremacy of the party. They got him out of office. You got him out of office. So these are the problems. These godfathers have entrenched themselves in the manner that any attempt to do what is right, to make the party an institution and self-sufficient and disciplined and all that, they find a way to get you out. So what I would advise is that Nigerians who are thinking alike, like the way I'm just saying, they should get themselves together and start a new national political party.
All right.
Take advantage.
Doctor.
Take advantage. Yeah.
Doctor, let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return and you will continue. Just a quick break. We will be right back.